playoffs that many times.
He's been here. He knows this city. And now he's leading the conversation every single day, live and local.
What's up, San Diego, and a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're here live at the Loft up here in the Western Metal Supply Company building, getting you ready for Padres and Reds, final game of the three-game set between the two teams here in the National League. Padres desperately need a win today with Michael King on the hill because of last night and the way last night went. I mean, last night for the Padres did not go very well in terms of so many missed opportunities. I thought last night was the game of missed opportunities for both teams. I mean, whoever won last night, obviously it was the Reds. I mean, if the Reds ended up losing the game last night, they would be kicking themselves about all the missed opportunities they had in the contest. I mean, I thought last night's game was somewhat of a mid-off, if you will, between the two organizations. But it was tough to watch, the final, obviously, near the end of the game where you had Manny Machado up with an opportunity to win the game in extra innings when he faced Sam Moll. And that's kind of where we're going to start today on the show, because that was just what you could not have. You couldn't have that at all. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is the one result you could not have in that situation. At that point in time, I was driving back to my place last night. I had Jesse Agler on, with Bob Scanlon as on 97.3 The Fan, listening to the Padres flagship radio station about the extra innings. And then Jesse goes, and that brings up Manny Machado with the bases loaded and multiple ways to win this game. Multiple. I mean, they had so many opportunities to win the game just in that one at-bat. A sac fly would have won the game. A hustle ground ball would have won the game. Getting hit by a pitch would have won the game. Walking would have won the game. And Manny Machado strikes out on 5 pitches. I mean, he swung at changeups that were so far out of the zone, swinging out of his shoes on, I don't know, pitches that what? He's trying to hit a grand slam? I mean, there was no reason to have the swings that Manny did on those pitches. Just absolutely none. It made no sense. I mean, that at-bat was just not a great team at-bat. At that point, you were trying to find a way to get on base. You're trying to find a way to get the ball in the outfield. You're trying to find a way to generate one more run and win the game. And it was just like swings that looked like he was participating in the home run derby on pitches that are nowhere near the zone. I mean, I pulled up Baseball Savant to look at the plate appearance last night between Sam Moll and Manny Machado in the, whatever was that, the 10th inning or whatever it was.
It was the bottom of the ninth.
Bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded, right? Before they go to extra innings. And the first pitch he gets is a ball. It's low. It's not even close, okay? It's actually outside as well. It's ball 1. And then the second pitch, he gets ball 1, right? The second pitch comes in, and it is so low. And he goes out and he gets a piece of it, and he fouls it off. I mean, at that point, again, that needs to be a patient at bat. You got to be looking for something dead red, make the guy earn it. And he bails him out, swinging at the changeup that's almost in the dirt for foul ball. Strike 1. 1-1 now is the count. The next pitch comes in on a 1-1 count. It's in on his knees. And he fouls that one off. And now he's down to the count 1-2. He could be up in the count 3-0. And I know hindsight is 20/20 here, but that's a 3-0 count potentially. And now Sam Moll, with the bases loaded and nowhere to put Manny, is going to have to maybe groove one to try to just throw a strike and not walk in the game-winning run. I mean, this is like the approach that we're talking about, right? This is the second at-bat that Manny had last night where the approach was just like head-scratching. And I'm going to tell you this about the approach. Like, last night in 2 of Manny's at-bats, I'm telling you right now, there is no way he's being told to do those things. There's no way he's being told, hey, you got to swing out of your shoes on a ball that's in the dirt in this situation. There's just no way. And yet you saw that last night in the bottom of the 9th inning. with 1 out. At that point, he just needs to hit a lazy fly ball to the outfield, and they win. That's all you're looking for right there. Instead, he swings at 2 pitches like he can't do any type of damage on. He can't loft either. I mean, they're just throwing changeups low, trying to get a ground ball. He takes the bait, and he gets himself out. And then they finally sees a fastball, and this has been a problem for him, so far this season. They throw a 92-mile-an-hour fastball up in on the letters, and he just flat out just swings and misses right through it. And that's it. You bring Gavin Sheets up. I mean, Gavin Sheets also, at that point with 2 outs, I mean, he obviously has to get a hit. It's a little bit different than what Manny Machado's at-bat was. He strikes out, but you got the bases loaded in the 9th inning with the winning run on third base and less than 2 outs. You have to score runs. I mean, it's inexcusable if you want to be a good team. You have to find a way to score runs. I mean, I've seen this out there, and I saw this on Twitter last night, and and then our guy Prolific tagged us in it again today. But since May 1st, the Padres are 1 for 23 with the bases loaded, and after that 9th inning are 1 for 25. That's 0-40 in terms of your batting average. I mean, it was just that is not what you want out of your star player in the 9th inning. It's really inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. And I think it's just honestly, I think it's the approach, and I think it's because Manny knows he's not doing well. I mean, that bat looked like he was trying to really be a hero instead of just taking care of the little things and getting the one part of that at bat that they needed to drive in a run. Look, he got 2 hits yesterday. He roped the double down the line. That was great to see. Hopefully that will lead to something with him, but it's just 1 step forward and 2 steps back, it seems like, with Manny on the offensive side of things. It's been tough to watch. I mean, it really has. And I think it's been frustrating for a lot of fans to see at-bats like that. I mean, that was one of the couple of at-bats that Manny had of 2 in reality that you sit there and go, like, I don't even know what the mindset was going into this at-bat. I mean, he had the double, he had the single in which he was able to drive in a run. But, I mean, the at-bats last night from Manny did not match. I'm going to tell you right now, they did not match what the rest of the team was doing. I thought the team did a really good job last night hunting fastball against Chase Burns, who throws a really high velo fastball. And a lot of guys that have struggled with the high velo fastball last night look pretty good. I mean, Fernando has not. He has tagged high-level fastballs. We talked about that yesterday. He's hitting over 350 against 98 miles an hour plus on a fastball, and he tagged Chase Burns all night last night. I mean, the first inning was a little bit different. It seemed like they were trying to swing early and often against Chase Burns, but after that, they settled in. I liked the approach out of the team in those middle innings. The only one that really didn't match what the team was trying to accomplish was Manny yesterday. And that, to me, was the biggest head-scratcher of the entire night when it comes to the offense. I think Samad Taylor has been great. I think Samad Taylor has been awesome being called up. I thought, I think these young guys that have come up to, play from El Paso have given the Padres a little bit of a spark. Obviously, they probably need to use a little bit more. There's a lot of heroes, a lot of bright spots of yesterday's game too. But to me, the biggest talking point is the couple of at-bats by Manny Machado, in which I can't even tell you what his approach was, because I tell you what it's not. It wasn't what the rest of the team was doing yesterday. Because you could tell, like, the rest of the team yesterday was sitting fastball on Chase Burns, sitting fastball on a guy that had been dominant. I mean, absolutely dominant for the Reds going into yesterday. I mean, it's honestly an anomaly of yesterday's game. The Padres usually tag relievers and don't do well against starters. They beat up the starter more than he usually has been beat up. And then it was the bullpen, the Reds bullpen that has been awful this year, shutting down the Padres in the later innings. I mean, this is definitely a game, though, that's not solely on the offense. I mean, the bullpen's got to be able to throw up some better zeros, and Lucas Giolito's got to be able to not walk 5 batters. I mean, the reality of yesterday, as much as you look at that one big spot for Manny Machado last night where he did not deliver, the pitching staff's got to do a little bit better of a job. But this is where you get to when you are going up and down and you're struggling as a ball club, you might get a little bit back on one element of the game, and then you lose another side of it because one of those entities is tired of carrying the team. So collectively, the at-bats last night for the Padres, I liked. I thought the at-bats and the approach of attacking fastball and sitting fastball was great. That's what it looked like they were doing last night at the plate. The only one that didn't seem like he was following what they were doing was Manny Machado. Gavin Sheets also had some issues last night with the fastball. He didn't have that great of a night. But you saw progress out of Jackson Merrill. You've seen now Fernando. I mean, he's at 279 right now. I mean, a couple of hits today. He's going to be hitting over 280 on the season. I mean, that's a quick turnaround for a guy like Fernando who had been struggling at the beginning part of the year. You see the hope and the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to Jackson Merrill. Obviously, we didn't see Bogaerts last night. Probably aren't going to see him until he gets to Baltimore on Friday due to being on the paternity list. But he's been contributing defensively, been running the bases. You know, he's gone through a little bit of a slump, but he's seen signs of life at the beginning part of the season. The only star right now that just looks like he's never going to be able to turn it in the right direction is Manny Machado. And that's coming off of 2 hits yesterday and a scorching double down the line. But his 2 at-bats to me that I look at, where I thought he was just absolutely swinging out of his shoes on nonsense, was the at-bat in the 9th inning, and then in the middle of the game, I have it up on Baseball Savant, which was it says plate appearance number 45 of the night. He started that at-bat off 3-0, and then he swings at a slider, like a slide piece that's way out of the zone, 3-0, and whiffs it. And then swings at the four-seam fastball in on his hands for an out. Again, like the approach there is just when you are struggling as much as Manny is, and you are the worst hitter when it comes to batting average for all qualifying hitters in Major League Baseball, you can't be swinging out of your shoes on a slider in the dirt 3-0. I just, you can't do it. So I look at last night. I think the pitching staff needed to be better. I think offensively, you saw the approach be a lot better than it's been. The one guy that didn't seem like he was following the approach, and I think it really shows to him pressing more than anything else. I don't think this is Manny going like, I don't want to listen to anybody. I think this is more, he knows how poor his performance is. It's obviously bothering him, and he wants to be better. But he looks. This is the most I've ever seen Manny Machado press in a Padres uniform.
And I think that wasn't, I mean, we say it's the worst ever as an exaggeration. Manny Machado literally is the worst hitter in Major League Baseball for qualified hitters.
For batting average. That is statistically.
That is literally, he is. That at bat also from Gavin Sheets. I'm looking at the pitch locations on that one. He's up 2-0, called strike, borderline at the knees, but it was a strike. Then it's like he's forced to swing after that. He swings at one in on his hands, swings at a sinker at 89 in on his hands, and then swings at a sweeper at 82 in the other batter's box to strike out in the 9th inning. It's especially when you are struggling as much as Manny Machado is. Anything you can do to get on base, anything you can do to help the team, that is what you need to do. The team needs you to walk there, because if you walk, that's the win. Game over. Gavin Sheets doesn't get that at bat in the 9th inning. Gavin Sheets doesn't strike out with the bases loaded, 2 out in the 9th inning.
Gavin Sheets is running to get the cooler to dump it on your head after the walk-off winner.
Exactly. That's all you needed to do. You just needed to walk. It's almost as if he refuses to get on base with a walk at this point, because you said 3-0 in the middle of the game, and then he starts swinging and hacking at everything. Did the same thing last night. He's in a spot where he can walk, and he's just swinging and hacking at absolutely everything. Freddie Fermin, the perfect example. All he needed was a sacrifice bunt. That was it. And then he almost got one, so close to getting one in the 10th inning last night. That would have been unbelievable if he would have gotten that home run in the 10th inning last night.
Yeah, he got under that one.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's just, you have to do what the situation calls for. And that situation right there did not call for Manny Machado roping a double down the line. It was all that situation called for yesterday was get on base by any means necessary and or get enough under it and hit it just deep enough to get it into the outfield to get the runner from third to score. That's it. That's all he had to do. And he just refused to do it because he's Manny Machado and he had to get the big hit in the big moment.
And here's the deal too. And this is why, and maybe last night is the first time that maybe some of our listeners can see. This is why I push back so much on the fact that it's not about the hitting coach. Because I mentioned I mentioned this because it's like everybody and look, like the offense is doing very well, and Steven Souza Jr. obviously he's not getting off scot-free here. But I will say this. When you have, I thought last night you got to actually see these guys have a good approach towards and a good attack against Chase Burns. I thought the at-bats were great. I thought sitting fastball was a good idea for a guy that throws it over 45% of the time. I think, just being able to attack the fastball on something that it's your weakness. Teams know it's your weakness for a lot of players, and this guy throws a lot of them, and it's like, all right, you know what? We're going to sell up for the fastball. I thought they did a good job with that last night, and the only one that didn't really seem like he was on the same page was Manny Machado, and this is why I push back on the whole, the approach from the hitting coach is not great. Well, here's the deal. Unless you're in those hitting meetings and you know exactly what they're saying in there, you're not going to know based on just watching because you're going to see guys that might just be doing their own thing sometimes, and I just felt like when guys press, I feel like you see that a lot because you start to get away from what you're supposed to be doing or what you were, and what you were instructed to maybe do. And you start thinking about, I got to find a way to get a hit here. And you start putting that own pressure on yourself. And to me, that's what you're seeing right now with Manny Machado, who is just, he was swinging out of his shoes 3-0 in that at bat on a slider in the dirt. It was like, what were you going to do with that pitch? And look, I get it. These guys have great stuff. It's going to look great out of the hand, everything like that. But you got to be, I just feel like he's got to be a little bit more patient up there on some of these swing choices. And I think it's a sign that he is obviously frustrated with the way that he's been playing. I really do. So obviously it was not great last night seeing the missed opportunities go out the window. There were a lot of positives last night as well. I really liked Jackson Merrill's at-bats. Fernando continues to swing a hot bat. Great to see him get rolling. The young guys they pulled up, Will Wagner and Samad Taylor and Jace Bowen, they continue to bust their ass and try to help this ball club win. Love watching those guys play. They've been playing their ass off since getting called up from El Paso. We'll talk more about that. Missed opportunities almost every single inning for the Padres. Kevin Acee laid that out in his daily newsletter. We'll talk about some of the positives. We'll talk about the pitching staff when we come back. We're just getting rolling. We got to get your phone calls today as well. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show just getting started on a Wednesday. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights lead the Carolina Hurricanes 2-1 at the time of recording, but Game 3 may go down as one of the wildest games that we've seen in years. Vegas built a 4-goal lead, then looked ready to cruise. Then Carolina exploded, 3 goals in just 39 seconds, the fastest 3 goals ever scored in a Stanley Cup Finals game. The Hurricanes tied it late and nearly completed a historical comeback. But in double overtime, Shea Theodore, former Anaheim Duck and former San Diego Gull, delivered the game winner, and Vegas escaped with a 5-4 victory. And let's talk about Mitch Marner. The former Toronto Maple Leaf recorded 4 points and the fastest hat trick in Stanley Cup Finals history. He's now 3 wins away from a Stanley Cup in his first season with the Vegas Golden Knights. If Marner leads Vegas to a championship, does that completely change the way hockey fans view his legacy? The Stanley Cup Finals is certainly living up to its expectation and then some. 3 games into the series at the time of recording, the Vegas Golden Knights hold a 2-1 lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. But this matchup has been anything but predictable. We've seen blown leads, overtime thrillers, historic performances, controversial challenges, and one of the wildest comebacks in Stanley Cup Finals history, almost become a reality. If the first 3 games are any indication, hockey fans could be headed for an all-time classic in the final potential 4. So far, Vegas grabbed control of the series in Game 1. They entered the final as the underdog, despite being one of the NHL's elite teams all season long. 3 games later, they're exactly where they want to be. Vegas won Game 1 in Carolina 5-4 after overcoming an early 2-goal deficit, and then survived double overtime in Game 3 to take a crucial 2-1 series lead. History is now on their side. Teams that take a 2-1 lead in the Stanley Cup final have gone on to win 80% of the Stanley Cup championships. That doesn't mean the series is over, but that does mean that Carolina's margin for error has become so much narrower. For Vegas, Mitch Marner has been absolutely unbelievable. If there is a Conn Smythe Trophy favorite right now, it is Mitch Marner. The former Toronto Maple Leaf has been spectacular throughout the postseason, and Game 3 may have been the defining performance of his career. Marner recorded 4 points and delivered the fastest hat trick in Stanley Cup Finals history. Just think about that. This is a player who spent years hearing criticism in Toronto about his playoff shortcomings. He is now dominating on hockey's biggest stage and is now 2 wins away from hoisting the Stanley Cup trophy in his first season with the Vegas Golden Knights. Another storyline here, the craziness of the games in this series, especially Game 3. Game 3 was chaos on Friday night. On Saturday night, sorry. Vegas looked like it had the game wrapped up, building a 4-goal lead. They scored 6 goals in the second period. The first 2 were taken off the board after challenges by Carolina. The next 4 stood. Then Carolina produced one of the greatest comebacks in NHL history, tying the game as Jordan Martinook, Taylor Hall, and Jordan Stahl scored 3 goals in just 39 seconds. The fastest 3 goals ever scored in a Stanley Cup final game. And all of them came within 10 minutes to go in the game. Andrei Svechnikov then tied the game late in regulation, stunning the Las Vegas crowd. The Hurricanes became the first team to even give themselves a chance after trailing by 4 goals in the third period of a Stanley Cup Finals game. Ultimately, Vegas survived in double overtime when Shea Theodore found the back of the net, but the message was clear that Carolina was not going away. And while they were able to stay alive, they have a big problem right now. While Carolina deserves credit for its resilience, there's a concern growing larger every single game, and that is that the top line is not producing. Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, and Andrei Svechnikov have struggled to generate consistent offense and have even strength. And throughout much of this postseason, Sebastian Aho also gave up a penalty shot opportunity to Mitch Marner, which was saved in that Game 3. Coach Rod Brindamore has publicly acknowledged that the lineup changes are being considered. When you're facing a team as deep as Vegas, your stars really have to star, something I know we're very familiar with here in San Diego. If Carolina is going to come back in this series, then it starts with its stars taking control. Goaltending, also a factor. One of the biggest things to come out of Game 3 was that Frederik Andersen surrendered all.
Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. We are broadcasting live today from the Loft in the Western Metal Supply Company building, getting ready for Padres and Reds. We'll be taking you up to about 12:05 when Sam Levitt will take over for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 12:10. First pitch for the Padres and the Reds at 1:10 right here on San Diego's Urban Sports Station and the home of the Padres, 97.3 The Fan. So we got a lot of Padres talk to get to today. If coming down to the game, come up to the Loft. If you get here early, come up, say hi. We're here at the Loft for the next couple of hours, if you will. And again, we usually broadcast live from the Bill House Studios, but on Wednesday day games, it's good to get out to the ballpark. Good to see you guys out here. We're going to have Jesse Agler on here at 11:30. He's going to walk over and join us here at the Loft for a little bit of a baseball conversation. So lots to still get to today on the Braden Surprenant Show. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Do you want to get your phone calls today? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Obviously, last night, tough one to watch, tough one in the late innings. Need better execution, need better situational hitting from this offense. But there's a lot of blame to go around from last night. It's not like anybody else really had a perfect, game. I mean, there were some bright spots. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like the way the young guys have been playing since getting pulled up. Samad Taylor's been fun to watch in a Padres uniform in these small sample size. Jace Bowen's had made some exciting effort plays. I mean, Will Wagner got a couple of hits yesterday. So good to see the young guys contributing to this team. But do you want to get to your phone calls? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I'll start out with Nick in Vista. Nick, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, buddy. You guys are the pros, so I really want to get your opinion on my take of Manny Machado. You guys have taught me over the years that when a pitcher releases the ball, the batter is supposed to look at the spin, etc., and determine whether it's a good pitch or not. When Manny swung at that in the dirt, at that ball in the dirt and struck out, I feel like he's not seeing the ball anymore. So I wanted to really get your guys' opinion on that. I feel like it's something that he may not ever get over, and we may not ever see the old Manny Machado come back again. And then I wanted to get your opinion on, is that something that happens to players when they get older, that they stop seeing the ball like they used to? And thank you guys for everything. I appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you for the call, Nick. I do think eventually the vision definitely starts getting rough, for some players. I mean, I can't really speak on that. I'm not a Major League Baseball player. I don't know what it looks like down there. I think it's a good question for Tony to see, as he was going, how more difficult it was to pick up some of the spin and stuff like that. I don't think that's the problem with Manny. I mean, obviously right now, I mean, he is just not playing very well. And I think a lot of, people out there, aren't going to want to listen to me say, like, I don't think it's like he's completely aged off yet. I really don't. Because a lot of his swing metrics and everything are still pretty solid. So, I think this is a big challenge for Manny to try to fight through this. I really do, because, he's got to be disciplined enough to just stick with what the game plan is and help contribute. I think eventually, that's going to lead to him having less pressure at bats in his own eyes, and it's going to lead to more hits and everything. I really do. But appreciate the phone call, Nick. Let's get out to Rick in Lakeside. Rick, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Yeah, good morning, Braden. Hey, I'm really confused on the bunt by Samad Taylor when they sent Machado back. Can you explain that to me? And also, after the game, Craig Stammen was yelling at the fans, yelling, "You suck." I don't know if anybody brought that to your attention or you heard it, but probably the fans are getting tired of the way the Padres are playing. He's kind of defending his players, but I don't know if that's a good thing to do.
Rick, I appreciate the phone call. I mean, I did see some images of Craig, and looking like he was, speaking to somebody in the stands. I can't tell what they're saying, nor did I hear what anybody said. And I'm sure there's a lot of reports on social media of what the fans might have said and what some of the Padres staff might have said back. I mean, it's frustrating. They're frustrated. Fans are frustrated. It's a frustrating game yesterday, obviously. What happened with the bunt, Samad Taylor dropped down the bunt. And he dropped down the bunt on a squeeze play to try to get the run in from third base. The bunt kicked back up and hit him on the hand in the batter's box, which is a foul ball. So that's why they had to call Manny back and continue. But I appreciate the phone call, Rick in Lakeside. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Tim in Miramar. Tim, what's going on?
Hey, boys. Hey, every team has a signature move they do when they get on base, right? Padres is the double point to the right?
Well, they were
And,
doing that, and then they started mixing in some other stuff the last couple of games.
What did you interpret from Manny's salute with his index finger at first base and second base last night, which is something I've never seen before? How did you interpret that, gentlemen?
I don't interpret it the way I think social media wants to interpret it. So if you think it's something else, that's your opinion. I don't really interpret it like that. And here's my message to the fans on some of these things. It's not that deep. It's really not that deep. I think a lot of people are frustrated right now with the way the team's playing. I don't think they're doing what you think they're doing. To be honest with you, I really don't. That's my difference of opinion. If you want to look at it the other way, I'm not going to look at it like that. I'm really not. My opinion is it's not that deep, guys. It's really not. I mean, if you're going to make a big deal about what they do with their little celebrations and thinking like you're getting jabbed at maybe, as a disgruntled fan, it's what did Manny say to Fernando? It's not about you. I mean, sometimes it's not about you, and sometimes it's not. I mean, they're not doing anything more important than it needs to be. I mean, it's like it's not that deep. It's really not. They do celebrations all the time. I mean, unless they flat out say like, "Oh, this is what we're doing." I don't know what to tell you. It's like it's not that deep. Did you see the celebration? I didn't see anything out of there that was like
I didn't see what celebration.
They were like this and then like that.
No.
They kind of did the hand thing, but instead of pointing towards the base, they pointed up. You didn't see that? They did it like 14 times last night.
The Reds?
No, the Padres.
No, I didn't.
The Padres did that last night.
That's just. Once you start getting into optics issues, you're just searching for stuff.
We're searching for stuff.
I didn't even notice that last night. That's if
Right.
you think that's a bleep you to you guys out there for ripping on him, you're just looking for stuff to be angry about at that
I
point.
agree. Why is this a conversation? I saw people ask me about that too. I had like 3 DMs about that. They're like, Who is he doing that to? Who's he doing that to? Like, I don't really. First of all, I don't really care. I don't really care. Players do they do stuff. All right, like they do interesting things. That's just what they do. Okay, it's not the end of the world. All right, Kevin and Chula Vista, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
I don't know where to follow up after the Italian salute there, but nonetheless, let's go back to Mr. Matsui. And once again, the gasoline can in the match, he comes out and you know what's going to happen next for the most part. And I just am at a loss to why, other than the fact that he's got a $10 million contract, why this man is still allowed to occupy a pitcher's mound in Major League Baseball. He is that bad when clutch times, it doesn't happen with him. And there was a critical time last night. He gave up the go-ahead runs, I recall. And, you can't have that. You just can't out of your middle reliever.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have that great of an outing, Kevin. I appreciate the phone call. I mean, he hasn't. I know a lot of Padres fans have seen the ups and downs of Yuki Matsui, and again, we've mentioned it before. I mean, you're going to have to pay a contract if you wanted to get, if you wanted to not have him part of the organization anymore. It's going to cost you, a decent amount of money to send him elsewhere because it was a contract in which they kind of mentioned and some reports came out that he could potentially be a closer in the future when they signed him. And, so they paid him a little bit more than I think he would pay normal, certain relievers. He had 1.83. He has a 1.83 ERA. I know he's done fairly well. I think there's a time and a place, obviously, to use Yuki Matsui. The only defense I'll have in terms of him being used last night was you only had 2 other guys left in the bullpen. At that point, you're going to have to throw him. David Morgan pitched already. Morahone had pitched already. Adam had pitched already. Miller had pitched already. Bragley had pitched already. You were left with Matsui, Peralta, and Marinaccio. And, if the Padres were if they were able to tie the game there in the bottom half of the last inning to go to another one and go to the 12th, You would have seen Wandy Peralta out there probably. And then, I mean, they were kind of ran out of arms. And my thing is, and again, I will say this, like, if you are, I mean, as a manager, you can't just not use guys. I mean, you have to use the guys that are in the bullpen. And, whether or not the discussion is he should be one of the arms in the bullpen, I mean, that's a different conversation. But at that point in time, you're running out of arms. I mean, you have to use somebody at this point, at that point in time in the game, which actually leads to an interesting conversation. I think a lot of people talked about this yesterday. It's how the Padres use Mason Miller. We'll talk about the bullpen usage and we'll continue with your phone calls when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
The New York Knicks are now just 2 wins away from their first NBA title in 53 years. After stealing both games in San Antonio, the Knicks are headed back to Madison Square Garden with a 2-0 series lead over Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Game 1 featured another clutch takeover from Jalen Brunson, who scored 30 points and led a comeback from 14 down. Then in Game 2, the Spurs erased a 14-point fourth quarter deficit and actually took the lead with less than a minute to go, but Brunson answered again. A late Spurs turnover set up the game-winning free throw, and Wembanyama's final jumper missed as New York escaped 105-104. The Knicks have now won 13 straight playoff games at the time of recording and are now 2 victories away from ending their championship drought that dates all the way back to 1973. Can Wembanyama save the Spurs season, or are we witnessing the return of basketball glory in New York City? Game 3 at Madison Square Garden set for tonight at the time of recording. The 2026 NBA Finals have delivered drama, heartbreak, and history through the first 2 games. And right now, the biggest story in basketball is pretty simple. The New York Knickerbockers are 2 wins away from ending a 53-year championship drought. After storming through the Eastern Conference with an 11-game playoff winning streak, the Knicks traveled to San Antonio and did something that no team has ever done before, and that is win the first 2 games of the NBA Finals against the San Antonio Spurs on the road. Now the series shifts to Madison Square Garden at the time of recording, with the New York Knicks holding a commanding 2-0 series lead. In Game 1, it looked like it was headed San Antonio's way. The Spurs built a 14-point second-half lead behind the brilliance of Victor Wembanyama, but the New York Knicks never panicked. They did this before in the Eastern Conference Final. Led by Jalen Brunson, the Knicks mounted another comeback. Something has become a theme for them throughout this postseason. Brunson scored 30, including 13 points in the fourth quarter, while Karl-Anthony Towns added 18 and 12 boards. The Knicks closed the game on an 11-0 run and escaped with a 105-95 victory, taking home court advantage and extending their playoff winning streak to 12 games. For San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama finished with 26 and 12 boards, but he shot just 6 for 21 from the field and afterwards took responsibility for the loss, saying simply, "I was bad tonight." And that was a big part of why San Antonio lost that game. Victor Wembanyama shooting from the field. Game 2, if Game 1 was painful for San Antonio, Game 2 was downright heartbreaking. The Spurs trailed in the fourth quarter by 14 points, but they came all the way back this time. Wembanyama delivered a huge 3-point play with less than a minute to go to give San Antonio a 104-102 lead, and it appeared as though the momentum had finally swung. but then Jalen Brunson did it again. The Knicks star tied the game and then capitalized on a late Spurs turnover and calmly knocked down the go-ahead free throw with 9.5 seconds remaining. He missed the second free throw. Wembanyama had one final chance to win it, but the jumper bounced off the rim, and the Knicks win the game 105-104. New York became only the third team in NBA history to open the finals with the first two games on the road and win both of those games. They are on a huge, huge run right now. These finals have featured two organizations that have had very, very different journeys to get to this point. For New York, it's a dream run. The Knicks swept Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Final and entered Game 3, riding a 13-game playoff winning streak, the second longest such streak in NBA history. Jalen Brunson continues building a legacy, a legendary postseason resume, while Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby have all delivered major contributions. And also Kyle Hart has also played a very, very big role, and Mitchell Robinson as well, playing with that broken pinky. Meanwhile, San Antonio's path has been remarkable in its own right. The Spurs dethroned the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games during the Western Conference Finals, when Wembanyama averaged more than 27 points per game in that series and led one of the youngest final teams ever assembled. But after an emotional Game 7 victory over the Thunder, some wondered if the Spurs might suffer an emotional letdown as they enter the finals, and through 2 games, those concerns might have just been very, very legitimate. Moving forward, can San Antonio recover? The good news for the Spurs is that neither game was a blowout. Game 1 slipped away, and Game 2 literally came down.
Surprenant Show are brought to you by SDCCU and the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. We are here live at the Loft at the Western Metal Supply Company building, getting you ready for Padres and Reds coming up at 1:10 today. Equawater SoCal Padres pregame show will be at 12:10. You have a lineup out there for you for the San Diego Padres against the Cincinnati Reds. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We'll also talk about some of the positive things out of last night's game. Obviously, a lot of people want to focus on some of the negatives, but there were some bright spots for the Padres as well. A couple of guys look like they're starting to turn things around a little bit, which is nice, but Padres really need to take 2 out of 3 against Cincinnati before they head to Baltimore and start a very long road trip in which they will see the Orioles, the Cardinals, and the Rangers on this, grueling month of June. And I mentioned this before, and I'll say it again. Like the Padres, what did we say the Padres had to do in June? Go 500, and they'd be exactly where they were in July as they were last year. Well, Padres then have to win 2 out of 3 against the Reds. It will even up with the Mets, and then it'd be nice to sweep a team here coming up, but I think it's going to be very difficult. They're going to have to win a couple series on the road as well. And then when the Padres come back here, it's going to get tough. I mean, they got Atlanta and the Dodgers in one homestand, June 22nd through the 28th. They will play the Cubs on the road to finish up the month of June. And then the 4th of July weekend, it's in L.A. against the Dodgers. So this is some tough sledding coming up for the Padres. They really need to get a win in today. On remote work Wednesday, that's a theme game ticket today. How many people do you think are going to be here with their laptops today?
I know 2 goobers who are.
Right. I guess technically, does that count for us in the press box with our little our laptops out?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be prepping tomorrow's show.
No, I guess you're participating in remote work Wednesday.
Do I get something?
No, you had to pay for a theme ticket for that. That's today. Clock in from America's #1 ballpark for remote work Wednesday at Petco Park. What's the
Can never do
here?
anything in this place.
Hey man,
it's a joke. Relax, calm down.
Package includes $10 in fire funds. What do you get? Do you get a sign or something?
Mm-hmm.
If you can answer emails from anywhere, you might as well do it from Petco Park.
That there are worse places to work on a Wednesday afternoon.
Nice. They give you some $10 fire funds on that deal. That should be fun. You saw that thing at the beach, right? Was that a month ago? where they had like a remote work beach day.
Oh God.
You didn't see that in PB?
No.
They had like all these people show up to PB with their laptops and stuff like that, and they had like fake desks, and they're doing like Zoom meetings and stuff.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. Can we do that? I guess we could. We do. I mean, we're doing it right now. Remote work Wednesday. Working remote at the Loft.
Adam.
I think it's probably.
We do Friday show from the beach.
I think that would be bad for our equipment. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's probably not great to come back with equipment that's covered in sand.
No, put it in a bag. It's just like we'll put the Via in a bag and it'll be good.
We're putting the Via in a giant freezer Ziploc bag.
Yeah, why not? Keeps the
sure,
sand out of it. Who cares?
I'm sure that will work out well. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's get out to Anthony in Escondido. Anthony, what's going on?
Hey, Braden, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing a little bit better than the Padres right now.
Anyways, obviously, I want to kind of chime in on what you were saying about with the pitching coach. Obviously, how we saw with yesterday's game, it's like you can't really blame the pitching coach. Obviously, you can definitely see it at the side. Some of the players that you're playing with, I wouldn't say the word selfish a little bit, but it's stuff like that. It's like perfect example, Manny Machado, bases loaded. All he had to do was just hit a ground ball, and we would have won that game. But that's really all I have for you guys today. And then hope everything can get better from here.
Yeah, absolutely, Anthony. Appreciate the phone call, man. Yeah, it's just why it's tough for people to listen to maybe some disgruntled fans go like, hey, we got to believe this hitting coach is really what's pulling us back, or the pitching coach, or this guy or that guy that's not actually out there physically doing what the players are doing. I think it's difficult to say that, especially with the way I thought the approaches last night were good out of most of the Padres. But the thing is, when you run a certain style of baseball offense and you run that approach, you kind of need everybody to do it. Otherwise, it doesn't really work. And last night you didn't have everybody do it, and the Padres continue to just be a rudderless ship, just puttering around in the pond in a circle. It seems like, especially with this offense. But the offense had some bright spots yesterday, a lot better than maybe the pitching staff in the bullpen.
Juan Orozco has a great idea for a daily bit that we could do.
Oh boy!
Excuse of the day. What would today's excuse of the day be? Manny just completely threw any form of offensive game plan out the window in the ninth inning. Is that kind of the excuse of the day?
Can't even say Chase Burns threw the ball hard because they actually hit him pretty well. Excuse of the day.
It's didn't hear the show open, bud.
Let's talk about the bullpen. All right. So the bullpen yesterday, and here's an interesting conversation because we have a little bit of time here, and this is people always want to throw it, especially when it comes to tie games and when to use your closer. Because last night Mason Miller came into the ninth inning, right? He came into the ninth inning with a tie, and you're trying to win a baseball game in 9 innings, correct? So now this is not going to be the conversation of whether or not you think you should throw Mason Miller 4 out of 5 days. But this is a conversation about, like, when do you use your closer in a tie game like this? To me, when you saw, like, last night, you see that a lot with teams because if you're going to use your closer, if he is available to pitch, that is the last time that you're possibly going to use him. Because what you're not going to do is you're not going to save Mason Miller for later innings, hoping that, you get to that point, right? I mean, you have to use him. And I think I look back to the Zach Britton situation in Baltimore. Remember that in the playoff game? They had like the play-in game.
Yes.
The wild card that was a 1-game thing. And Zach Britton was just like, because I'm pretty sure they were going to extra innings before the extra inning rules. And you just kept watching him warm up at the bullpen. You're like, when are they going to bring the Zach Braden guy in? He's like their best reliever, and then they never used them. They ended up losing the game. Somebody else lost it for them. So I think it's a lot easier to sit here and be like, well, if we didn't use Mason Miller in the 9th inning, we could have saved him for extra innings, and then he wouldn't have given up a home run that Yuki Matsui did. Well, then who would have pitched the 9th? I mean, you're going to have to use the same guys. I mean, you have to use these players, right? So, like, was Yuki Matsui going to pitch in the 9th, and then you don't even get to that point? Like, if all things are equal in that sort of situation, I don't have a problem with the Padres using Mason Miller in a tie game in the 9th inning at home. I really don't, because that is the only time you can deploy. Arguably, that's the last time you're going to be able to really deploy your best pitcher in the bullpen if he is available. And you got to trust your offense to get the job done. And the offense, and you know what? It would have worked out flawlessly if Manny Machado drove in the run with bases loaded and 1 out.
I mean, we went over this exact conversation. I think it was 2 weeks ago, where the top of the 9th inning, all you're trying to do in a tie game, or if you're down, you're either you throw your closer, because all you're trying to do is get to the bottom of the 9th inning, which means you get to extra innings. You want to give yourself that chance. So the last feasible opportunity you have to throw your closer as the home team is the top of the 9th inning. All you're trying to do is keep the game where it's at. Give your guys a shot. And that's exactly what Craig Stammen did. He used Mason Miller at the last possible opportunity that he could have used him in. Because the top of the 10th inning is not guaranteed. What are you going to do? Save him for the 10th inning, and then they hit a walk-off in the 9th inning, and then
Correct.
It doesn't matter. No, I understand that. I'm saying it doesn't. If you're saving him for the 10th inning and you win in the 9th, that you don't use him. There's no point. You lost that opportunity to use him. The top of the next inning is not guaranteed. So the last time you can theoretically use your closer as the home team is the top of the 9th inning. If you can do it, if you're the road team, you can save him, because then you can get a lead. You can try to protect it then. But what you're doing as the home team is you're just trying to get to the bottom of the 9th or get to extra innings with the game where it is, which is why you use the closer in the top of the 9th inning if you're going to use him at all.
Right. To me, it's a little bit different as the home team, the away team. The away team, you could get a save. As the home team, you can't. And if you're going to use your closer, you got to use him. And to me, the top of the 9th, or the top of the 9th to the top of the 10th. That's it. I mean, at that point, what are you saving him for? Because you're not. This is not like, before when you didn't have a guy starting at second base to start the inning, because in those situations, maybe you do maybe you got to grind out what's going to be a long extra innings. I mean, now, extra innings don't go more than really 12 total innings. I mean, sometimes they do, but it's very rare that is the case. To me, I think you use your closer in the 9th. If you want to talk about whether or not using him for the last 5 outings, for the last 5 games is a good idea. I think it's a different topic of conversation. And to me, he didn't pitch for like 9 games before that. So at that point, I think he's available and ready to go. Last night, and then you want to use them in the 9th, and it would have worked out if they pushed the right buttons in terms of setting up for a win. Unfortunately, the Padres players did not execute last night, and that's the fact of the matter. We do want to get back to your phone calls. We're pushing up to the top of the hour, though. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will continue those in the 11 o'clock hour as we continue the conversation. I just, there's some people are giving me a hard time that I'm not like yelling more. I don't really know exactly what you want me to yell about. I mean, at this point, you're just kicking a dead horse. They know what needs to happen. And, me yelling is not necessarily going to make anybody play better. And it's not really my favorite thing now in sports fandom is holding people accountable. It's the funniest thing ever. Like, we have had multiple people, and I've seen it all over social media going like, oh, we're holding the players accountable. Okay, let me get this straight. So if you got a guy screaming from the stands at a player just nonsense because he's angry, is that player really just gonna be like, you know what, man? You're right. I gotta play better. It's nonsense to me. It's nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's just like I just want to see somebody crash out because I see it on television sometimes. When we come back, get more of your phone calls. Second hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. Usually broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Our Bill House Studios today is a Loft in the Western Metal Supply Company building. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, standing as Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Talking a lot of things Padres related, obviously from yesterday. Tough loss yesterday for the Padres. They had probably multiple opportunities to win last night's game, and I think that was the biggest takeaway from yesterday. Missed opportunity after missed opportunity. We do want to get your phone calls today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get to Logan in La Mesa. Thanks for waiting on hold during the break. What's going on, Logan?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well, man. What do you got for us?
Good. I was just trying to get your thoughts on Merrill and his current struggles and just kind of the underwhelming season that he's been having.
Yeah, he's had a tough year, obviously, and he's been struggling with the fastball a little bit more. He's been swinging out of his swinging out of the zone and a lot of swing and miss this season. But I liked his approach and at bats last night. I think he's starting to really turn things around a little bit on the offensive side. So hopefully he'll be able to, do that again today. But I think you've seen it with Fernando. I think you've seen it. Obviously, some bright spots out of Xander Bogaerts at the beginning part of the year that leaves you optimistic. I think you're finally starting to see Jackson Merrill really settle in a little bit here. So hopefully that leads to a better second half and a better, couple of weeks here for the Padres and for Jackson Merrill. But I think he's on the right track. I appreciate the phone call, Logan. Let's get out to Brian in Chula Vista. Brian, what's going on?
Hey, guys. First off, I just want to say, kudos to the skipper. I'm going to rate him a B right now. I think he's doing as much as he can, pulling all the right strings. Tough loss yesterday, but, that game should not have gone into extra innings. Going for, I think I heard it was 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position is absolutely wild to imagine. You guys are right, and the skipper's saying it. The players are pressing, and swinging at the first pitch and not working the count to get to the opposing team's bullpen is we're just not doing that. I like to see Tatis. He's becoming a team player now. He's swinging. He's no longer swinging for the fences. Base hits, line drives. I like that. Jackson had a great hit. But he tends to still swing at pitches outside the strike zone. And looking for, the big pitch to hit. And it just seems like he's not reading the ball, the way that he used to. And Manny, I love Manny. He's our captain, but he's got to lead better by example, and not try to be the hero with runners on, taking a walk or, not swinging for the fences on that one. I love the Padres. I just don't see, and I love what the younger players that we brought up are doing, but I just don't see a dog in them right now. There's just no fight. We're taking these games into extra innings. We're not intimidating any other team, and we're lucky to still be, tied in second for Arizona. But that's just me, guys. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks again.
Brian, I appreciate the phone call. I mean, a lot to unpack there for sure. I do agree. I mean, the plate discipline for the Padres has not been very good throughout the entire season. And again, Frank, I don't feel like that is a Steven Souza Jr. problem. I don't think he's sitting there going we got to swing at these pitches. I just feel like the discipline out of these hitters has been inconsistent. I'll say inconsistent because there has been a lot of these guys that have put together at bats that have had discipline at bats. We've seen that out of players time and at some times, but we haven't seen them collectively do it in a game, and we haven't seen them consistently do it amongst over the course of any period of time. I honestly think the plate discipline has also been a huge problem for this team, and that's everybody in this lineup.
Yeah, you can't, like you said yesterday, the approach looked good in the middle innings. They were doing what they were supposed to be doing in the middle innings, except for one guy. That's not right. That's not on the hitting coach. And that's why we've been saying it all year long, is that you can't You can't just blame the team not hitting on the hitting coach, because you have situations that come up like last night where where everyone's following and one guy just goes rogue, and that's where it all falls apart. So I don't. It's an unfortunate situation for sure with Steven Souza Jr. because you see what it looks like when it works, and you can see what can happen when one guy, one link in the chain doesn't follow through.
Yeah, and sometimes it's multiple links in the chain, right? I mean, last night in particular, when you look at the key failures by inning, and Kevin Acee alluded to this in his daily newsletter, he wrote them all down. In the second inning, they had runners on first and second, one out. They went fielder's choice and a pop fly that ends the threat. In the third inning, they had a tie ball game 2-2, stranded a runner at second with 2 outs. In the fifth inning, Fernando was stranded at third base after a 1-out double. In the sixth inning, a walk, a single, an intentional walk loaded the bases with 1 out, and Freddie Fermin hits into a double play. Ends the inning. In the eighth inning, Machado, leadoff double. I mean, he did get 2 hits last night, but everybody's obviously talking about his at-bat in the ninth, and then, of course, the other one that he had where he's swinging out of his shoes 3-0. But he led off the inning with a double in the eighth inning. Went to third base on a ground out and stranded after a strikeout and a fly ball to right, which the right fielder made a hell of a play on that ball, I want to add. Ninth inning, 3 1-out singles that load the bases, and you get 2 strikeouts to end it. And then in the 10th inning, Samad Taylor ties it with a 1-out single, steals second, and he's stranded. I mean, the Padres generated 12 hits, which is their highest in 30-plus games, and pressured starter Chase Burns effectively early, but went cold against the Reek Reds bullpen. Manny Machado epitomized the night, single to tie it in the third, leadoff double in the eighth, popped out with runners in scoring position in the fifth, and struck out with the bases loaded and 1 out in the ninth. I mean, offensively, a lot of ups and downs. A lot of ups and downs for this team. It's the inconsistencies. But as you mentioned, Frank, as we alluded to in all these key failures by inning, they show the life of what they can be offensively, and they just can't put it all together on a daily basis.
Oh, it's amazing how just that one link can really change the entire vibe around the offense. And also, Cincinnati tried to give you that ninth inning as well. Once again, we see a Cincinnati pitcher unable to field his position.
I know.
That was why he took such a wide arc around behind that ball. And then by the time he got behind it, there was no shot that he was getting Jackson out at first. So again, all you needed there from Manny in that spot, you didn't need him to hit a double. You didn't need him to hit a ball into the gap. You didn't need him to hit one to Orange County. You just needed him to get under one enough to get it into the outfield or just walk, which he could have done. It's just, I don't know what else to say other than those are at bats that will kill you. And I saw Army Time 11 in the chat right at the beginning of the show say that last year that's a game they would have won. Last month that's a game they would have won.
Oh,
like at the beginning of May when they were still playing well, that's a game that they win last month. What has happened with this offense over the last month is just, it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied for historical record. It's not great.
You know what else needs to be studied is the Fernando Tatis Jr. getting thrown at second base.
Yeah, that's what it needs to be studied for a different reason.
I can't believe how many times he gets thrown out of the bases. I mean, is it like a jump? I mean, people are like, oh, he's lost his speed. He's still in the 92nd percentile in sprint speed in Major League Baseball. Is he not getting the same jumps, not getting the same lead? I mean, is every catcher in Major League Baseball just throwing absolute strikes down the second base? I mean, it honestly amazes me how many times Fernando's been thrown on the bases when they've made it super, not easy, but they've made it so much easier to steal bags in this day and age of baseball.
Yeah, I don't. And he's not stealing at times where you would steal too. When he got thrown out at third base the other night, you're not supposed to be stealing there. You're not expected to be stealing there, so a catcher's not really looking for it. Again, it feels like he's trying to do the work of all 9 guys in the order.
Right.
He can't. His run counts for 1. That's it. That's all his run counts for. If he comes around the bases, it's not a 5-0 lead. It's a 1-0 lead. That's all it is. He really has to pull it back now. And you can see where it comes from. Is like no one in this lineup is hitting consistently. I'm finally doing something. He had a 4-hit night. He went 4 for 6 last night. I'm finally doing something. Let me try to help be that spark and try to get as much work done as I possibly can while I'm in a position to do it. Again, you need to play to what the situation calls for. You don't need to be the guy every single time. Just be on base for when someone gets a hit. That's sometimes, most of the time, that's all you have to do.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to, do we still have Joe in Spring Valley on the Braden Surprenant show? What's going on, Joe? No, he's off. Okay. All right. I mean, the offense is what the offense is. We haven't talked too much about the pitching yesterday. The pitching didn't really help out the Padres at all yesterday. Lucas Giolito, he labored yesterday. I mean, he got himself out of a couple of issues, but the amount of walks yesterday, inexcusable. I mean, he took accountability for it in the post game when he talked about it. But 4 innings, 2 runs, only one of them earned on 2 hits. But the 5 walks, I mean, you can't get away with that in any level of baseball. Not just, I mean, Major League Baseball specifically, but they were patient against Lucas Giolito. They were the Reds were money on their challenges, but with him walking that many players, not only does it usually lead to runs, but it's driving your pitch count up high, and you need to get more than 4 innings out of Lucas Giolito. He knows it. He said it in the post game, but I mean, it just made the bullpen have to work that much harder. And in today's game, I'd be curious to see who's actually available in today's game besides Peralta and Marinaccio. I know they have the day off tomorrow, but those are the only 2 guys that didn't pitch yesterday. And a lot of these pitchers in the bullpen, Morejon, Adam, Miller, have been used a lot in the last couple of days.
Yeah, Miller's pitched 4 of the last 5, so I would be stunned if we see him pitch. But this is why I said after the Mets series on Monday, if there's a time to start panicking, now might be it. Because the offense is still doing what it's doing, which is nothing good. But now you're starting to see the starting rotation start to bend a lot more than they were. You're starting to see the bullpen start to give up more runs and start to bend more than they were. So if you have an offense that is not contributing at all, and now your pitching staff is starting to fracture under the weight of injuries and being forced to be inch perfect every single time they take the mound, yeah, I think there's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. And it's starting to look like that because now you're starting to see starting pitchers not get as deep into games and giving up more hits and more runs.
I look at this, Lucas Giolito, again, inefficient last night. I mean, the four innings and 5 walks and a high pitch count is never going to help your bullpen out. It's just completely taxing it. Adrian Morejon, Jason Adam, Mason Miller worked hard in tie games, but are now taxed. The Reds stole 7 bases, by the way, against the Padres. First time Padres have allowed that many since 2009. But they were doing that based on, they were exploiting the pitcher timing yesterday. That wasn't a Freddie Fermin problem because Fermin had some strikes that he threw down to second. That was more of a pitcher problem. But, I mean, this is a game where the positives were, offensively, there actually were more positives than there were pitching staff-wise. But they had a strong approach versus Chase Burns, who had a 2.05 ERA. Samad Taylor continues to spark as a recent call-up. He was 2 for 4 with a walk, a stolen base, an RBI single in the 10th. I mean, he came up clutch. Fernando Tatis Jr., 4 for 6, stays hot. He's hitting .397 with a .508 slug in his last 15 games. And Will Wagner, I thought, helped the ball club out a little bit yesterday. Got a couple of hits, had a solid start of 2026. And again, like last year, Will Wagner didn't have a lot of success after being acquired, from the Blue Jays, but he had never been in a starting role. He was actually able to start yesterday and be part of the lineup in and out, and it looks like he was more comfortable at the plate, not having a pinch hit as a young guy being in Major League Baseball. So I like the bright spots from the young guys. The frustration factor, of course, though, it's a nearly 4-hour game that felt like 7 hours because of all the missed opportunities. And Craig Stammen and a lot of the Padres players emphasize that execution and flushing it quickly for today's series finale is a must, especially against a weak starter like Brady Singer. But Frank, we've seen these starters and bad starters really take it to the Padres. So we'll see how Brady Singer does today, but he's got a 5.89 ERA. He has labored through most of the season so far for the Reds. Padres got to jump out and get this game before they go into an off day.
Yeah, especially with Michael King, who's one of the few guys that you can really trust to be able to lock it down and keep the game under control. So this is a game where the Padres offense really, really, really needs to work and figure it out and step up in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of notes from yesterday, too, like from the players. And again, this is why, like, the whole, to me, like the, you got to hold the players accountable situation. I mean, these guys know. At this point, it's like, yelling from the stands or, like, from the fan perspective, it only goes so far, right? So, Fernando yesterday said we just got to make it happen. We got to execute. Absolutely. Craig Stammen on Manny Machado last night. I mean, I thought Craig did a good job with his press conference yesterday in terms of like sticking up for his guys. That's what he has to do. He still trusts Machado in big spots. I don't think you can lose that because of a couple of months. And if you want to pull up his overall statistics, in a Padres uniform, fine. But you invested the money in this guy to be that guy. You can't change that opinion this early in his contract. You really can't. I mentioned Giolito owned his short outing and bullpen burnout. Not really much more to talk about there, but I mean, Machado needs to be a lot better in clutch situations, though. 167 with runners in scoring position this season. This is his clutch stats this year. 167 batting average with runners in scoring position versus 309 career number. 150 average in close and late games, which his career average is 250. And he's hitting 202 this season with men on base versus 290 in his career. I mean, Manny has not been anything like the player that he was acquired to be or that he has been in a Padres uniform, this season. He just hasn't.
No, he has been. This is, like I said, you're going to have career best years. You're going to have career worst years. And every player's had them. This is by far his anomaly career worst year. I say anomaly because we haven't seen anything before it. And because we haven't seen anything before it, it's hard to guarantee that you're going to see it again next year. But going through it for sure is not fun. It's not fun for us. It's not fun for him. The only thing you can hope for is for somehow, some way, he figures it out, gets back into a rhythm. And if not, there's next year. That's really all. That's really the only other thing you could say is he's either going to work it out this year or it's just a lost career bad year for him and got to get it next year.
When we come back, you're born your phone calls, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres baseball getting underway here at 1:10. We'll have the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 12:10. Jesse Agler will join us here at 11:35 as we continue the Braden Surprenant show, standing as number one sports station 97 through the Fan.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup is almost here, and for the first time, 48 nations will battle for soccer's biggest prize. Spain enters as the favorite, riding a remarkable 28-match unbeaten streak and looking every bit like a championship team. France sits right behind them with stars like Kylian Mbappe and Dembele, while defending champions Argentina and Lionel Messi look to try to do it again for one final time. For American fans, all eyes will be on the United States, ranked 13th entering the tournament. The U.S. could either make its deepest World Cup run in modern history or struggle to survive the group stage. Watch out for dark horses like Senegal, Ecuador, Switzerland, and Japan, all capable of shocking the world on the biggest stage. The biggest question heading into kickoff, will a traditional giant lift the trophy, or will the expanded World Cup create the biggest upset in tournament history? The countdown to the biggest sporting event on the planet is almost over. It starts this Thursday, upcoming on Thursday. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is set to be the largest World Cup ever, expanding from 32 teams to 48 teams and bringing more nations than ever before onto soccer's biggest stage. With the tournament just around the corner, debates are heating up over who will lift the trophy and who could make a surprise run. Also, which traditional powers might be vulnerable in this year's tournament. A recent ranking of all 48 teams gives us a fascinating look as to how the world stacks up heading into kickoff. At the top of the rankings, of course, sits Spain. The reigning European champions enter the World Cup riding an incredible 28-match unbeaten streak and possesses perhaps one of the most balanced squads in the tournament. Young stars like Lamine Yamal have become one of the faces of world soccer, and if Spain remains healthy, many believe that they could be the team to beat. Right behind them, though, is France. They won this World Cup not that long ago. When you look at the talent that France has on their roster, it's almost unfair. Mbappe, Dembele, it's seemingly an endless supply of depth that makes France a legitimate title favorite once again, like they were 2 World Cups ago. Now the defending champions, Argentina. Lionel Messi returns for what could and should be his final World Cup appearance. Argentina still has plenty of stars from its magical run last year, including Julian Alvarez, Emiliano Martinez. The question isn't talent, it's health. If Lionel Messi and several stars can stay fit, Argentina absolutely has the ability to repeat as World Cup champions. Now, rounding out the top 5 are going to be England and the Netherlands. England enters with perhaps its best opportunity in decades. Harry Kane remains one of the world's top elite goal scorers, and under Thomas Tuchel, the new manager, championship level experience comes to this English side. Meanwhile, the Dutch side have quietly become one of the most consistent teams in international soccer since losing the Euros in 2024. And remember, it was 2010, if I remember correctly, they played Spain in the World Cup final. So they have been here before. They've finally gotten back with a bunch of retooled stars for the Dutch team. They are going to definitely be ones to watch. On the dark horse side, every World Cup produces a surprise team. This year, several nations fit that description. Switzerland, who we've seen here in San Diego, comes in at number 18 and might be the ultimate sleeper team for this tournament. They have favorable matchups, experience, and enough attacking talent to be able to make a serious run in the World Cup. Ecuador is ranked 10th and could be one of the most dangerous teams that nobody is talking about. Their roster is filled with young talent, elite defenders, and dynamic attackers capable of troubling any opponent that they may run into. Senegal sits 9th in the world and is viewed as Africa's best chance to make history. Their defense is among the strongest in the world, and they possess the athleticism and discipline needed to compete. Don't overlook Japan. Japan comes in ranked 15th, and they've become the gold standard for Asian soccer and consistently punches above its weight class in tournaments. It wasn't but a few years ago that they were actually able to beat Germany in their group stage. So they have a very, very good squad always, do Japan. So they are going to be ones to watch. The host nations, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, are
Too early to talk high school football. I told you, San Diego State Pass League tournaments this weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Locked in. I'll be hosting the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show this weekend and the Hamul Casino Resort postgame show this weekend for Sammy Lev.
There you go.
So I don't think I have time to go back and forth with the San Diego State Pass League tournament. But when you get the San Diego State Pass League tournament, you know what that means? It means summer is here. That's what it used to mean for me as a kid growing up, going to the 7-on-7 deals when my dad was coaching. That's what it meant as a player in high school. It's like, summertime, San Diego State tournament. So we played Saturday, Sunday this year. I think we're in the afternoon. I can't remember the schedule they sent me of who we're playing or whatever, but there's always a lot of good teams out there. So we got some high school football right around the corner. I mean, it starts earlier and earlier. Our first day of fall practice is July 31st this year. July 31st.
Wow.
State championships are like the week before, like the week and a half before Christmas. These seasons are so long for high school football. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Eric in Oceanside. Eric, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on?
Not much. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing well, man. What do you got for us?
When I see Fernando lead off first base, when he comes set, like in his stance right before the pitcher goes to the plate, his legs are too far apart, and his first step is slow. So if he shortened up his width between his feet, he'd have a quicker first step. And it just seems like this year they're wider apart. You go look at base steals like Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock, and their legs are within the width of their shoulders or even shorter. And his are outside of his shoulders, and that first step is killing him because he's being thrown out just by a quarter step or so.
Yeah, it's something to monitor, definitely, and I'll definitely pay a little bit closer attention to that. I appreciate you bringing that to attention because, again, like you watch Fernando try to steal bags this year, it just seems like it's an anomaly. How many times he's been thrown out? It's kind of crazy to see. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll take one more phone call, and then when we come back, play-by-play man of the San Diego Padres, Jesse Agler, will join us here live at the Loft. Let's get out to Casey in San Diego. Casey, what's going on?
Hey, Braden. Hey, Frank. Hey, two quick points I wanted to make. First, I've been managing and hiring people for my entire career, and I'll just say even when I'm hiring a part-time seasonal person, I don't want to hire anybody unless they're running to the job, meaning in case they really want it. If I have to convince somebody to take the job, I don't want them. And if all reports are accurate that I've heard, that's kind of what AJ had to do with Salmon. So, I don't think we should be that surprised that it's not working that well when he wasn't super, super stoked about the job in the first place. I don't know how fair that is, but it feels that way to me. And the second thing that I'll say is with regard to Manny, and I think everybody saw that the second contract that he got. I don't think anybody was super excited about it and pretty worried about how he was going to play going into his age 40 season. But, I'll just say the guys in any sport that are able to compete to 40, 41 years old and have a lot of success, God-given talent gets you until you're 30, 31. After that, you've got to work hard. And Manny's not a super hard worker. He's just not. I mean, that's not me throwing shade. It's been well documented that he's not like Kobe where he stays afterward and is shooting free throws in the gym until midnight. I mean, it's just like Manny's not that guy. So I don't think we should be that shocked that he's falling off already because his God-given talent is waning and his work ethic is not getting to where he needs to be until and it's really frustrating that we've got him until 2033 if this is where the diminishing returns are going to start. Anyway, thanks for taking the call, guys. Appreciate all you do.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call, Casey. I think Craig Stam has done a fair job this year. I really do. I really think he's done a pretty good job. So I don't want to get too much on him. I don't think there's been a lot of games. I mentioned it before. I don't think there's a lot of games that he has cost the San Diego Padres. In terms of Manny, I mean, I don't know what he does during the offseason. I can't really evaluate his work ethic. I tell you what, I mean, when I do see him here at the ballpark, that guy's working pretty hard. So, I'm thinking the Padres are going to be able to turn things around. I really am. Last night was obviously a frustrating loss. When we come back, Jesse Agler will join us live here at Petco Park. Talk a little Padres baseball with Jesse before he gets on the call for Padres and Reds. That will be coming up in just a matter of moments as well as we continue on the Braden Surprenant show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
Denny Hamlin just pulled off one of the most impressive wins of the NASCAR season. After winning pole at Michigan, Hamlin was forced to start dead last because of unapproved adjustments to his car. Most drivers would be fighting just to finish in the top 10. Instead, Hamlin drove all the way through the field, took the lead late, and won by more than 11 seconds. The victory was his 63rd career Cup Series victory, tying him with the late Kyle Busch for 9th on NASCAR's all-time wins list. After the race, Hamlin honored Busch by carrying a tribute flag during his victory celebration, creating one of the most emotional moments of the season. The win also tightened the championship race dramatically as Tyler Reddick suffered his first DNF of the season, cutting his points lead to Denny Hamlin from 97 points to just 51. With 11 races left before the playoffs, the championship fight is officially on, and if Hamlin keeps driving like this, the rest of the NASCAR garage should be very, very concerned. Denny Hamlin charged from last to first for the second week in a row. The biggest story of the weekend came from Michigan International Speedway, where veteran Denny Hamlin delivered one of the most impressive performances of the season. After winning pole, Hamlin was forced to start from the rear of the field due to an unapproved adjustment made to his car after qualifying. Early on, it appeared as though the task might be a bit too much, as he spent most of the opening stage mired in traffic. But through small adjustments and elite long-run speed, Hamlin steadily worked his way through the field. By the final stage, no one could match what the number 11 Toyota team was doing. Hamlin led the final 39 laps and cruised to his third victory of the season, winning by more than 11 seconds. The triumph marked his 63rd victory of his NASCAR Cup Series career, tying him with the late Kyle Busch for 9th on the all-time wins list, a record that Kyle said earlier this season Denny Hamlin would most likely eclipse during this season. The victory carried extra emotion as Hamlin celebrated with a Kyle Busch tribute flag, very much like what Jeff Gordon did at Phoenix in 2008 with a Dale Earnhardt flag after he won the race there, honoring his former teammate following Busch's passing just a few weeks ago. Michigan had a lot of playoff and championship implications this season. Michigan also brought major movement in the championship standings. Championship leader Tyler Reddick suffered his first DNF, did not finish, of the season after being collected in a multi-car accident, while Hamlin capitalized with the victory. Hamlin was also involved in that wreck. He just did not get any damage to his car. As a result, Hamlin cut Reddick's championship lead from 79 points to 51 with just 11 races remaining before the playoffs. That's still a full race plus coverage for Tyler Reddick, but he went into that race with 2 races plus worth of coverage. Now it's just 1, and that means a heck of a lot. The playoff bubble is also tightening dramatically as only 26 points separate Shane Van Gisbergen in 14th place from Joey Logano, who is in 17th, making every point critical moving forward. Coming out of this race, it was a race of attrition, and you saw it early. 11 caution flags. This was the most that the track has ever seen in one race. A 20-minute red flag after a very, very hard impact by Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott with about 50 laps to go that actually broke the safer barrier. So the red flag was to repair the damage to that barrier, pull the steel part of the wall out and replace the styrofoam blocks behind the wall, stuff you will see coming up in San Diego in a couple of weeks. Multiple multi-car crashes all throughout. Major incidents involving Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell, as I mentioned before, battling for second. That's the one that broke the wall. In the end, patience and experience proved to be just as important as speed. For the Craftsman Truck Series with the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series off this week, the Craftsman Truck Series, Corey Heim continued his dominant 2026 season with a dramatic victory in the Truck Series at Michigan. The reigning series champion held off teammate Caden Honeycutt in a thrilling last-lap battle, winning by just 65 hundredths of a second. So very, very close finish. The victory was Heim's 26th career win in the Craftsman Truck Series, and added yet another track to his growing list of successes. Heim has now won at 22 different racetracks in the Craftsman Truck Series, something that only Ron Hornaday Jr. can say in the series. This win comes just 1 week after Corey Heim announced that he will join the Cup Series in 2311, racing full-time for them next season. So this performance served as just yet another reminder of how good Corey Heim is. Looking ahead, the NASCAR Cup and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be at Pocono next week, and the Truck Series will be taking the week off. And then after that, all 3 series will be coming here to San Diego to run at Naval Station Coronado.
Braden Surprenant Show live and locally each every day from 10 to 2 on Saturday. Goes over at Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Usually broadcast from the Bill House Studios, but today we're broadcasting live at the Loft, the Western Metal Supply Company building here at Petco Park. It's always great to get out on a Wednesday afternoon. Our guests usually join us on the SDCCU fan hotline, but right now, Jesse Agler, play-by-play man of the San Diego Padres, joins us via the SDCCU fan chair, I guess, SDCCU fan desk.
Hello.
At the Loft. Well, it's good to have you here. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better SDCCU. How are things? How's everything been?
All good, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. This feels very official.
It does.
I've never actually been out here. I know this is where Sam does his little thing, but you guys got a lot of wires.
Yeah, there's a lot of wires. Well, you know what? If you got a problem with the wire, Sam did set up the wires.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's this. And he runs it through there. I filled in for him a couple of weeks ago, and Sam sends me a video of how to set this up, which most of it's pretty self-explanatory. But
yeah.
I
the red one goes into the red, and the white one goes into the white, and the green one goes into the green.
Yeah, right. It's all pretty pretty easy, right? So Sam records a video, and he starts the video by going, "Hey, Braden, it's Sam." And I just wanted to kind of show you how to. Who else would it be?
Like
Sam?
He's doing a TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is how you
kids today.
set this up. And I'm like, I didn't know it was you, Sam. My apologies.
That's
but anyway, Padres baseball coming up in just a little bit. We'll talk about the Padres game in just a little bit. But, I do have some questions for you. Just we ask a lot of the broadcasters this when we have them on the air. Some different things about calling the games, what have you. I was just talking to you off air. Obviously, it's a long season. It's a lot of travel. It's a lot of, you got to do family stuff at home. You got to be, on the road doing your job. It's a lot of back and forth. We see Tony go through this all the time. Gets tiring, but you got an off day tomorrow in Baltimore.
Yeah.
What's an off? We hear the players on some of their off days. What's an off day like in Major League Baseball on the road for a play-by-play broadcaster?
Yeah, road off day is like the most valuable day on the calendar. It really is, because a home off day, like you said, you got family stuff, you got laundry, you got like kids' doctor's appointments, whatever it is. Like everything you haven't been able to do gets jammed into the home off day. So it's not really a day off, right? But the road off day is really your time to rest and recuperate. So it's incredibly important to take advantage of that. So, kind of depending on the city, you do what you do. Obviously, we're going to get, to Baltimore and to the hotel tonight, probably considering the time change, traveling across the country, I don't know, 1:32 in the morning.
Right.
By the time you get your bags and get settled, if you're asleep by 3 a.m., you probably did okay. So, the trick with the time change, right, is you don't want to sleep too much tomorrow, because then you get all whacked out with jet lag. So I try to get myself up at a reasonable hour, like 9:30, to kind of get myself on Eastern time. That's how I do it. So now you're up, not much of a breakfast guy. So, I'll try and get a workout in. If I'm too tired for that, at least, get out, explore, do something, kind of start my day. And, like Baltimore tomorrow, maybe a museum, something like that. We stay near the Inner Harbor there, which is a really pretty area, and there's a lot of good stuff there. So Baltimore is a really good off-day city, a lot of good food, kind of treat myself to a nice lunch there. And then, just kind of, do a little work on the Orioles at some point, and just recharge the battery. In terms of tomorrow night, I'll be tired, certainly. They actually have a night game against the Mariners, so maybe go check that out for a couple of innings. Once or twice a year when that presents itself, I do like to sort of, go over to the stadium and, kind of be a fan. I think that's really important, just to sort of remind yourself that, like, this is a leisure activity for people. Because for us, it's work, right?
Right.
And, we go to the game every day and we're writing stuff down and we're trying to remember facts and stats and everything like that. And it's a job. It's work. And, you go to a game and you stay for 5-6 innings or something. You eat a hot dog. you drink a beer and you're like, oh yeah, I remember. This is like a fun thing that people pay really good money for. And I think that's like really important, to have that fan experience and to sort of like put yourself in that mindset, and to remind yourself that this is what it's really all about. So maybe do that, maybe go to dinner with a couple of guys. We also, we'd like to do a trivia night, sometimes on the road, there's a group of us that do that. Crushed it in Philly on the last trip. So we'll see, kind of a TBD, but nothing too crazy. Like we said, the idea is to recharge the battery as much as possible. And this is a long trip. So, away we go.
When you go to games as like a fan, like you were saying, do you ever find yourself, because I find myself doing this, do you ever find yourself like just naturally like getting ready to like write down the play and like almost keep score because you're such in the habit of doing that?
Yeah.
Or you go like, right before the game starts, like, I don't have any prep on this team that's about to play right now. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm just enjoying it as a fan.
Yeah.
I have some of those experiences sometimes. I'm curious. I mean, when you do watch, I mean, how do you get in the leisure mode and not work mode?
The trick is to walk in right as the game is starting at the earliest, not to get there early in any way, shape, or form, maybe even after first pitch, and then to immediately go get a beer. And then you're not in work mode at all. And if I have a beer in my hand, I know I don't have to write anything down.
That's funny. Jesse Agler joining us live at the Loft on the Braden Surprenant show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Let's talk about this Padres team. I mean, you've seen a lot of highs and a lot of lows in your career covering this Padres team.
Yeah.
What, in Jesse Agler's viewpoint, what can you tell us about the 2026 team that stands out to you compared to all the other teams that you have covered throughout the years?
Weird year, right? I mean, look, the story's not written yet, so I can't put a period at the end of the sentence because we're not even at the All-Star break yet. And the one thing I can say with certainty is, I'm not about to judge a season on June 10th, but I can tell you that it's been odd. I don't have my arms around it all the way yet. I don't think any of us can, but it's been weird. It got off to that start where they were winning all these games. Kind of felt like they had no business winning, which is fun and entertaining and exciting. But I think we all knew, okay, something's going to have to change here, right? It's not sustainable. They said that. We said that. I'm sure you said it on your show as well. But it was a heck of a lot of fun. And now it's like, they kind of went into this funk and they're trying to pull themselves out of it. The numbers, are very surprising for a lot of guys in a lot of different ways. You're starting to see some more positive signs, I think, offensively. Obviously, injuries all over the place. The starting rotation, I think it's very easy to forget. Oh, yeah, Joe Musgrove hasn't pitched in forever. Nick Pivetta hasn't pitched in forever. Obviously, Darvish is lost for the years. The year we kind of just put that aside, every time we're talking about things. Then you got, Manny's hitting what he's hitting, but with power. Fernando's average all of a sudden is fine. He's hitting the ball, really hard, but still only has the one home run. It's just a weird year for a lot of reasons. But things are going to change. Things will change again. Preller's going to Preller at some point. This roster is going to change. So I don't know what it's going to look like at the end of the day. And the other thing we got to keep in mind is, this is not 1990 when there's no wild card. This is not 1995 when there's one wild card. This is 2026, and there are playoff spots to be had.
Right.
And, the reality of the modern, Major League season is you don't have to be a perfect team to make the playoffs. You don't have to be, a near perfect team to make the playoffs. And the idea, I think, for most teams is just get in the tournament. And, you kind of roll the dice. And look, you'd obviously love to be in a, 102-win juggernaut and feel great heading into the playoffs and get that bye. That's not realistic every year for every team. Maybe the Padres go on a crazy run in the second half and they put themselves in that position. That'd be great. Everybody kind of clicks into place. I'm not saying that's impossible. But, this is a team that's, in the playoff conversation, right in the middle of the playoff conversation right now, despite all those deficiencies, if you want to call them that, despite all the weirdness that they've had. So, look, it's not an all is lost situation. A lot of things have not gone according to plan, but there's a tremendous amount of baseball left.
There's tons of baseball left. And the other thing too, I think sometimes it's hard because, when you work in this industry, it's, you have some emotion still, right? Because you get excited when the big plays happen. And obviously we can feel it in your voice when things don't go the Padres way. So obviously you're emotionally invested, but at the same time, you have to be level-headed to do your job, right? You can't be freaking out on the radio just like as much as we can. And so it's a little bit different than what fans react to when they watch. But you've been able to watch all these games in detail. You've seen clubhouses in detail. You've seen how teams operate. And it's hard to explain sometimes because you know so much compared to maybe people that don't have as much access. But I cannot believe anybody, when they think about it logically, that you think that the stars that are struggling on this team are going to be like this at the end of the year. And I think you have seen enough baseball in your career where it's like you're going to look back on this back in October, maybe in September, and be like, oh, it's kind of funny how much we have thought about some of these players.
Certainly that's my thought, and I would say odds are that's how it's going to go. But look, there are weird years.
Yeah.
There are seasons when guys, look at anybody's baseball card. We still say that whole back of the baseball card thing. We should probably update that. Look at anybody's baseball reference page.
Right.
There are Hall of Fame guys, all-star guys that have just weird random years. And maybe they were hurt that year. Maybe something was going on in their personal life that year. Maybe they just didn't feel right for whatever reason. Maybe something was off with the swing all year. I don't know. But, you go look at guys that were 10-time All-Stars that were, career 280 hitters, and they have that one random weird year. And throughout all of baseball history, it's just something that does happen sometimes. So look, the Padres have multiple guys going through it right now. And yeah, I do believe that most of those guys, when all is said and done, will be at least closer to their norms at the end of the year. But there's a possibility, one of them, maybe two of them, I don't know, never totally, stabilizes at the end of the season. Now, that doesn't mean if they get into the playoffs, that guy won't go crazy.
Right.
That's the other bit of lunacy about all of this, is that when you get to October, you talk about wiping the slate clean and nothing mattering, that happened. How many guys have popped up in the playoffs that didn't do anything in the regular season and just go absolutely crazy? That happens too every single year. But obviously,
with the Padres too. The first game in New York in the 3-game series, it was the Trent Grisham
and
Josh Bell show.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you just gotta scratch and claw your way into the thing, and you don't know what's going to happen after that. I'm not in the prediction business. I try really hard not to predict things. You're right. Look, as I said, odds are, for at least most of these guys, things will look a little bit normal when all is said and done. But look, there is a realistic possibility that because of whatever factor or just the randomness of this game, that, maybe somebody just has one of those years. But that doesn't mean that, like, oh, it's career over. Oh,
right,
this is the
correct.
beginning of the end. And I think that's the important thing to keep in mind. I know people can get spooked because, like, oh, somebody's 32, 33
Right.
years old. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. This is not the beginning of the end for some of these guys. And I think that's kind of a lazy take in my mind.
Isn't it funny though? Like now in this, like we look at 32-year-old baseball players like they're 50 in this day and age because of the fact we've seen so many great young players show up a lot earlier than they usually have.
Right.
The
conditioning, training, all that is so much better now than it's ever been.
And you can look back. Just recently, and I think of, because his son plays at USD, so I get to see him all the time. I think of Adrian Beltre.
Yeah.
He was hitting like 300 up until he was 40 years old.
Yeah.
Like, granted, he's a Hall of Famer, right? But anybody that has seen Manny Machado specifically play, a lot of people, and from broadcasters outside of the Padres, they like to future Hall of Famer Manny Machado. He's got a long way to go, obviously, but his track record and what he is, his resume tells you that he's on that path. It would be almost a historical anomaly for him to fall off at age 33.
Absolutely. And look, there's work to be done ahead,
yes,
for Manny or for anybody who's on that path at this point in the career, but he's above the 2,000 hits. There's a lot of road ahead of him, but he's on the road, and not many guys are on that road. The other thing, I've heard and seen people be like, oh, he's out of shape. I got to tell you, the guy's in good shape. The guy's in better shape than other seasons, I think, that I've seen Manny Machado. And I don't know where that narrative's coming from. I would not say that he's out of shape. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know why that's a take right now. Not to play I've seen him with his shirt off card, but like I've seen him with his shirt off. Like he's in good shape. I don't know why that's
like
a
a lot of
thing.
Padres that aren't in good shape.
Yeah,
right
like
now.
that's not a thing in 2026 for me. Now look, as you get older, you do have to take more and different care of your body. There's no doubt about that. You think about those guys like Beltre or whoever, Nelson Cruz, the guys that play well into their late 30s or even their early 40s. I can only imagine the amount of work that they're doing pregame every day in order to be able to go out there and be productive. It's like a full-time job just to get ready to play. And that's something that, if you're going to play deep into your 30s, you're going to have to do that becomes different, than earlier in your career. But I have no question in my mind, Manny is more than capable of doing that.
We're talking with Jesse Agler, play-by-play man of the San Diego Padres, here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're live at the Loft as we get you ready for the Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. You mentioned A.J. Preller is going to A.J. Preller. You're not in the prediction business, so I'm not going to ask you
no crystal balls
what
here.
you think they're going to trade for. But I do have an interesting question in terms of when you talk with other broadcast teams, you guys always compare notes. What's going on here? What are you guys doing? You know, there's a lot of stuff that you guys don't even mention on air, but you've got to get a baseline of what you're expecting from the team. When people from other organizations go like, what do you think A.J. Preller is going to do? At this point in your career, is there ever a time where you don't say, I have no idea?
No. I mean, it's something. I always say it's going to be something.
He's so unpredictable, though.
Completely unpredictable. There's always a million irons in the fire. You know, the one pseudo prediction that I'll sometimes make or say to people is, look, he's not afraid to build on his strength, right? You know, you sort of look at the Padres on paper and you go, okay, like the bullpen is, you know, maybe the strongest part of this team. That does not preclude him from adding a bullpen arm. You know, like that's something we've sort of learned watching AJ over the years is, you know, just because it seems like they don't need something doesn't mean he's not going to go out and get that thing. You know, it's almost like, I said this to somebody the other day, you know, it's almost like, you know, they don't make on the whiteboard. I don't know if this is actually the case, but this is what it looks like to me. It's almost like on the whiteboard, they don't make a list of needs at the trade deadline. They just make a list of really good players they want to go out and get. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what position they play or, you know, what team they're on or anything like that. They just like make a list of good players who might be available. And they go out and try and get as many of those guys as possible. Like think about Mason Miller last year. And that was the first deal they made. And when it happened, everybody was absolutely stunned. It was like, well, you got Robert Suarez. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we've got a really good bullpen. And now, you know, I think you look back at it, and you're like, man, it's really great that we've got Mason Miller on this team, you know, and at the back end of the bullpen. So, you know, they operate, I think it's fair to say, differently than any other front office when it comes to the trade deadline. And it's a heck of a lot of fun to have a front row seat to that.
I know you got to get ready for the broadcast here. Last thing for you is kind of piece it all together. We talked about what you do on an off day. We talked about, obviously, Baltimore. What's your favorite city to go to that you don't have a personal connection with? So obviously San Diego and obviously where you're from.
Yeah. You know, I like the big cities. You know, I'm a city guy. I like, you know, I'll give you a few. It's unfair to your actual question, but like I love a day off in Seattle or in San Francisco, Chicago, New York, obviously, are all great ones. Yeah, those are the ones. But, you know, I grew up on the East Coast, but now having lived out west for 12, 13 years, I have a great appreciation for the West Coast. So I would say probably my favorite off-day cities have become Seattle or San Francisco. The weather is just so much better out west. I like to, you know, take a long run on an off day. So the weather in Seattle and San Francisco is a little easier to do that because it's not as hot. And, you know, give me a little cool.
Does it become more of your favorite that you get to go there all the time too? And it's almost like you have your spots
a familiarity.
now,
Yeah, for sure.
And it's almost like you feel like somewhat of a local because you get to go there multiple times a year.
I tell you, like one of my best off day memories of the last few years is a couple of years ago. We had an off day in Seattle, and it was like, I don't know, 58 degrees and misting. And I know some people hate that weather, but like I went for a run and I just kept running and running and running because I like never got tired or hot because of the weather. And it's like a great memory for me. I went around Lake Union in Seattle. It's just beautiful up there. And, yeah, man, I love this West Coast, I got to tell you.
Well, you know what? If you got to go to Atlanta in the middle of the summer, it's nice to have the 58 and misty in Seattle.
Exactly.
Jesse, have a great call today. We
Thanks,
appreciate you walking over and saying hi. We've got to do this again later, maybe in the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good talking to you. Enjoy the off day tomorrow.
Thanks,
I know
man.
Well-deserved off day. Jesse Agler joining us on the SDCCU fan in-person hotline here live at the Loft. Good to be talking with Jesse. It was a fun interview as we got a little bit of time here before we pass it along to Sam Levitt and the Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Frank, let's try not to destroy our play-by-play man with all the wires here. Come on now. Come on. But anyway, that's Jesse. It was good conversation with Jesse. It was great to sit down and talk with him a little bit. And obviously, I mean, you know, it was a fun interview to have, Frank, but like with the whole, you know, I had to ask the A.J. Preller thing because we get asked this all the time. What do you think A.J. Preller is going to do? And every time I'm like, I don't know. It's going to be something crazy, though. It's going to be something awesome.
Yeah,
it's going to be something fun. I mean, he's going to be doing some wild things. If you try to get in the business of predicting what A.J. Preller is going to do at the deadline, you're not going to make a lot of money. That's what I'm just going to say on that, because how many times do you see the predictions in like on ESPN.com and MLB.com and all this stuff, and it's just like, I guess you get put in a position. You get put in a position, Frank, where you think AJ Preller is going to go for this one asset because that's what's reported for like months and months and months that he's interested in. And then all of a sudden the trade deadline happens and it's somebody you had no idea was even available at the trade deadline.
No, yeah, and exactly. That's what happened with Mason Miller. No one had any idea that Mason Miller was available. He did the same thing with Josh Hader as well. That Josh Hader trade with Taylor Rogers. Adam said in our ear, Freddie Fermin had no idea that he was going to be available. So there are guys there that can be traded if the price is right that no one's really paying attention to it. And to be honest, Freddie Fermin was never really one of the big names, like of one of those guys that, oh yeah, this guy is definitely one of the guys that could potentially be on the move at some point. So it's just timing. You get a guy under the radar. It's just sometimes it works out.
Yeah. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're here live at the Loft, getting ready for Padres and Reds, Game 3 of a 3-game series. And, they're going against Brady Singer, and this is a guy that has not been good this season for the Cincinnati Reds. Got a 5.89 ERA. Padres rolling out with Fernando, Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Gavin Sheets, Will Wagner, Samad Taylor, Bryce Johnson, Rodolfo Duran, and Sung Moon Song is the starting 9 for the Padres today. We'll get to our bold prediction after we get to the legal ID. But Frank, I mean, I don't like must-wins in June. Obviously, there's a lot of baseball still to be played. You don't need to be a perfect team to make it to October. But with the way the month lays out and with the way July looks like and trying to stay around right now, the way the team's playing, this feels as close to a must-win game as the Padres could potentially have on June 10th.
It's not a must-win for the sake of standing. It's a must-win for the sake of sanity and state of the team. This is a game that you gave up a game last night after winning the first game of the series in an impressive fashion. You have not played well. You have Baltimore, who's beatable. You have Texas, who's beatable. You have St. Louis, I believe, on this road trip as well. Yes, is the middle series in this?
You got Baltimore. You got St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis and Texas. So, who are beatable. St. Louis is good, but they're beatable because you come back Atlanta, Los Angeles, Chicago. Chicago's on the road to end the month. So these next 2 weeks are a really, really important stretch of games against teams that you can beat. You need to win these games. They are must win for your status in the National League.
And right now, I mean, if the Padres win today with they beat the Reds again, I'm going to do this kind of like math. Baseball's a lot of math, okay? So if the Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Reds, they basically washed the Mets and Reds where they go 500, and now you're 3 games under for the month of May, right? You're 3 games under, and you got to make up those games. And every time you win a series, you make up a game. So that means the Padres are going to have to take 2 out of 3 out of Baltimore, St. Louis, Texas, and the Braves. They have to take 2 out of 3 in 4 of those, and 3 of those 4 series, assuming you don't beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3 at home, and then you split with the Cubs if you want to do that game. But that's where you have to be to finish June at 500 in the month of June, which would set you up for have the exact same record you had in July going into this year's July. I think it's doable for this Padres team. I think it's absolutely doable. We'll see what Baltimore's got. They have kind of had a little bit of a resurgence over the last couple of weeks. I mean, they did well against Tampa a couple of weeks ago, but they're not a world beater team. They got their own issues over there. I think St. Louis has come back down to earth a little bit. Obviously, with their young players, very much winnable games in St. Louis, the team that you split with here at Petco Park. And then Texas is okay. They're I would consider Texas a mediocre team. You play them on the road. It just depends what Texas Ranger team you see that day. I mean, it's either going to be the team that gets no hit by the Astros or the team that puts up 13 runs on the Astros in the first couple of innings. So it's very feast or famine with the Texas Rangers. But this is the grueling part of the schedule. This is the grueling part of the year for the Padres. We talked about it. They got to get through to the All-Star break in order, and be above 500 if they want to have a chance in the second half. The second half, there's a couple series in there that are going to be tough, but there's a lot of breaks in the second half and a lot of teams that might be sellers at the deadline that they play in the second half. We need to pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, broadcasting live from the Loft at the Western Meadow Supply Company building on San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, this is Joe Musgrove for the San Diego Padres.
0-2, swing and a miss!
The Padres play here on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're leading you into the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. All right, Frank, let's get to our bold prediction of the game today. Yesterday, what did I say yesterday? I can't even remember. I think I said, I think I said like Fernando would hit a home run off Chase Burns. You know what? He went 4 for 6 though. So
yeah,
he had a solid day at the plate. What's your bold prediction for today?
I'm going to say another at least 2-hit day for Samad Taylor. I've been loving the way he's been playing. Offensively, defensively, he has been the spark that this team has needed. I am fully on board the Samad Taylor hype train. I'm leading it. I am at the front. I am at the controls of the Samad Taylor hype train. He gets at least 2 more hits tonight again.
2 hits for Samad Taylor. That is bold. I like that. You know what? I think Manny Machado hits a couple hits today.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with we're gonna speak some life into this. I think Machado has I'm gonna say this. I think he has a 3 for 4 day. That is a bold prediction right now. The way he's swinging the bat,
absolutely is.
He had 2 hits yesterday. Had double down the line. I think it was good, but I think he has a 3 for 4 day. We're gonna go bold today. Extra bold. I'll take the coffee extra bold. Only decaf coffee in the press box this morning. I was a little disappointed in that. Hopefully when I get back, it's not decaf, because I was like my favorite coffee. One of the all-time best coffees, press box coffee, empty stadium. It's one of the best coffees you can have on the planet. One of the best coffees you can have ever. You take the token picture.
I don't know how.
It was decaf today. It was slightly. I didn't make coffee this morning before I went down here. I was like, I'm gonna have the press box, empty stadium coffee, and it was decaf.
Are you a coffee dessert guy, or like coffee after dessert?
Oh yeah,
like coffee at night.
For like, if I go to like good restaurants and stuff like that, I will have some coffee after. A nice dessert coffee is nice.
I personally don't drink coffee, but I do love, like, every now and again when I'm here late at night after the games are over, I'll go into the radio booth and just sit there with the lights turned down in the ballpark. You just hear the leaf blowers blowing. That's all you see. It's just so peaceful, so nice, so relaxing. I think if you add a coffee to that, I think that could be another one right at the top of the
Maybe
list.
a nice tea.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Absolutely.
day. Yeah, coffee right there. It's probably good. I don't want to miss the music like I did last time. Oh, I couldn't hear the music last time on the thing. And then Adam later was like, "Oh, nice job going to break." Like, I no idea whether Sam didn't hear the music either.
Oops.
Oops is right. I'm trying to get you more there it is.
There we go.
Oh, that was loud in my ear. I heard it this time. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden
I'm
Surprenant.
sorry for doing it to you guys. Jeez.
We will talk to you guys tomorrow. We got the roundtable tomorrow, followed by our show. Should be a fun show tomorrow. World Cup starts tomorrow.
Yes,
we'll talk about that. Hopefully a Padres series win. For Frank Marchese, for Adam Klug, I'm Braden Surprenant. It's Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 to the Fan.